This is Shobit from Intentional Product Manager. Today we'll be having my co-founder in Intentional Job Search, Sam Feldman, speaking with Ed McGowan, who landed this amazing new product management role, his dream role. So stay tuned for more.
Ed, thank you so much for taking the time to catch me up on how things are going and chat about your experience in the program. I thought we could just kick off. I could ask you a few different questions about your experience so folks better understand what the program is, how you found it, and kind of what role it played in your job search.
Happy to share my experience.
All right, cool. Well, for folks that aren't familiar with you, maybe just start us off by telling them a little bit about you. Like, who are you? What have you been up to?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Ed McGowan. I'm based out of Boston, Mass, where I live with my wife and two kids. I'm currently a senior product manager at Logic Monitor, which is an infrastructure monitoring company. Before that, I had a very long career at Wayfair as a product manager.
Awesome. And we're gonna kind of we're gonna walk through the journey of your search a little bit and get into the program in a little bit, but rewinding back a few months before we started working together, I would love to know a little bit about maybe what the average week looked like for you in the job search. What was that like at the time?
Sure. So yeah, at the time, I had just been impacted by a large-scale layoff at Wayfair. My larger team was pretty heavily impacted. So I was, looking for my next opportunity. And I didn't really know exactly what that was going to be or what that should be. I was targeting places all over the place and have much of a strategy. So my day-to-day looked like logging onto LinkedIn, finding new jobs that were posted, and just sending my resume out, potentially reaching out to someone that I might know there, and hoping, crossing my fingers for getting an interview. Through some referrals, I did have some luck at getting interviews. In some cases, even got to final round interviews. But after 6 months of going at it on my own, walking away with no offers, figured at that point, needed a bit more help. When it was clear that whatever I was doing wasn't quite working, wasn't sealing the deal for me. So that was essentially what I was doing at the time. Treating my job search as somewhat as a full-time job without much strategy.
Okay, got it. And were there any the primary challenges? Sounds like it's taken a while, and not converting. Any other kind of frustrations or struggles you were going through?
I think the big ones for me was, why wasn't I converting any of these roles? Why wasn't I getting more interviews for roles that I thought I was a really good fit for? I was really getting no feedback at all on the interviews I was having. Didn't know where I could improve, where I thought my skill set really was a great match for the job description, but some way that I wasn't presenting myself, the interviewers didn't see the match. So that lack of feedback was, was top of mind for me.
When you found the program, what concerns or hesitations did you have about joining the program?
Sure. I heard about the program at the very beginning of my job search, and basically thought I didn't need it. Thought I could go it alone and I'd get a job in a month or two. But especially given the job market we're in, that definitely wasn't the case. Once I started to explore the program a bit more, had an initial call to learn more about it. Some of the questions I had, hesitations I had were more, one was, who am I going to be working with? Who's going to be leading the coaching? What's the quality of the feedback that I'm going to be getting? I had on my own used some other programs to do one-off coaching sections and mock interviews, and didn't see a lot of great results from them, didn't get a lot of great feedback. So I didn't want to sort of invest more without having sort of quality come back. So that was one of my early hesitations.
I'm curious, like, what ultimately pushed you over the edge to join the program?
What pushed me over the edge was two things. One was I really saw how this could be a program that was somewhat tailored specifically for my job search, what my skill set was and the type of job I was looking for, and how to sort of position myself and craft my story to marry those two things together. And the second, going back to the feedback part, was seeing and getting some insight into who the roster of the coaches were, the quality of interviewers and practice partners that I'd be able to work with, and getting some feedback on that was pushed me over the edge and gave me a lot of confidence to take the leap.
So now fast forwarding a little bit, when you're thinking about your early time in the program, were there any big aha moments that you recall?
When I was sort of working on my initial introduction, when I'm introducing myself to a hiring manager or a recruiter, just how much time I was spending talking about things that didn't matter and how that actually sounded to the interviewers I was talking with. And I was probably just boring them. And I got some early direct feedback saying, like, cut half of that out. It doesn't matter. That's not what anyone cares about. Focus on these interesting things. And as step one, it will build from there. So sort of putting the mirror in front of me to see sort of how boring, my conversations were with these people, and how I was probably putting them to sleep, and getting the opportunity to build on that and improve that.
Got it. Well, you definitely come a long way. You're not boring me, so I appreciate you willing to share that. If we fast forward a little bit as you've kind of gone through the program, talk to me about the story maybe of landing your new gig and what role the IGS program played in helping you.
Sure. So the new role that I'm in, that I'm super excited about, is in a bit of a different domain and industry than my past experience was in, but something I was super interested in and excited about. It's a product I had used in a previous role. It's in an industry that's up and coming and getting a lot of traction, but I didn't have the experience directly working in that. But where I think the program was really helpful for me in targeting this type of job and being able to land this type of job was sort of unlocking the adaptability of my professional experience to different types of jobs or opportunities. So learning how to tell my story in a way that is very strategic and sort of highlights my experience, but lets sort of the interviewers know how my skill set can be applied to their job. And being able to do that on the fly, sort of second nature, and having so much confidence in my story and how it can be sort of positioned as impressive experience, really helped me and went a long way for me.
Got it. If you look back on your experience with the program, how would you describe it in your own words?
Let's see. How I describe it is sort of a well-organized and structured program and process that really takes each individual's needs and sort of goals and desires into play and sort of crafts a custom roadmap for you. It allowed me to help find what type of job I wanted, what type of job, more importantly, I didn't want and shouldn't spend resources going after, and introduced me to a wide variety of really, really smart coaches and practice interview partners that provided real feedback that I was able to improve upon, and build upon and iterate on. The iteration was the sort of most important for me, is telling the story, getting some feedback that it didn't work, or focus on this area, not this area, and then coming back a few days later or a week later and trying again and getting better and better feedback until I felt like I was ready to tell that story in the real world. So that's a high level description, I guess, in my words.
That's great. I appreciate that. Who would this program be perfect for, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think it was perfect for me. So to describe where I was, as I already did, someone who has been in the job search but not seeing much success, who would really value from actually getting feedback on why interviews aren't going the way you want them to, and how you can better position yourself, tell your story, project your skills in a much more confident and strategic way, so that you're really coming across as a very strong candidate, because you are a strong candidate. It's just about sort of conveying that message in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Anything else you wanted to share with folks?
Last thing I'll share is what I really, really enjoyed about this program is the community surrounding it, the other members of the program that I had the opportunity to network with and meet and learn about other industries and other types of doing the product management job in different ways at different companies. Building out that network, doing peer interviews with other folks who are sort of in the same position as I was, gives the opportunity to commiserate on the job search a little bit as well, which was super helpful. I think is another huge positive takeaway for me about the program.
Awesome. Well, Ed, wish you all the best in your new role and really appreciate you taking a few minutes to speak with us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much.
If you enjoyed that video, please be sure to check out this other video that we recorded, which shows more experiences of people in the Intentional Job Search program.